Hey tubers, welcome back for another adventure. This Honda ATV will not start. Doesn't matter if it's an ATC like this thing, an all-terrain cycle, or your 400cc Kawasaki or anything else. This thing died. It won't restart. In this video, we're going to troubleshoot a non-starting all-terrain vehicle. And the first thing you want to start with is, what knowledge do you have? When I bought this rig, I was told it started, ran, and moved. Well, put that in your pocket because it may or may not be true, or it might have been true 10 years ago before somebody broke it. So just put that in your pocket. I could also tell very quickly it had been sitting for a long time, and that means it doesn't run anymore. So we got this thing home and we rigged up the jump pack and a carburetor, and we actually did get it running, and it was running, and it was jacked up at the time. I dropped the jack and there was somewhat of a death rattle, and then it died. It was just making a horrible sound, and the thing died. Now, I jacked it up to work on the front tire, but I put the jack under the motor here, and I lifted up, and I put some weight on the starter. Not recommended at all. I have since taken the starter off and checked it. The gears are all good, no problem. The reverse clutch is good, right? The one-way clutch. All that is good, so there doesn't appear to be a problem there. When I put it back in, I carefully reseated everything, so hopefully it's all good. Now what we're going to do is attempt to start it up again. Okay, here we go. We have the jump pack on there. It's all charged up. My portable CDI is on. I got gas to the carburetor. Here. Choke is on. Nothing. I do see the carburetor choke moving a little bit, but I got nothing here. Starting fluid. I got absolutely nothing. So, where to? ATV doesn't start. You got to start by asking a few questions, such as, do I have spark? And hopefully I can show this to you. Yeah, you guys could see that, I think. So I don't know if you guys recall, but the compression came in somewhere around 90, right? I have complete airflow, right? I have the slide out of the carburetor. That's the only way to do a compression test. So I'm thinking that's not good. I was getting somewhere around 90. This thing will never start with compression just a little bit above 30, 35. So where'd the compression go? I noticed when I was turning it over, it seems to be spitting out of the carburetor a little bit. So I'm gonna pop the caps off to check the valves to see if perhaps something went wrong up on top here, or intake or exhaust valve. I'm not sure why I would get a death rattle out of it and the valves would go out of adjustment, but we're trying to be complete, so let's do that. With a compression of only 35, you always want to check the valves. You guys hear that in this? So theoretically, the valve should be closing enough to work, but I'm going to loosen up the intake just a little bit more. So I loosened up the valves. Let's see if it's better. What was I getting? About 35 before. Now I'm up to 50. I think I'm going to oil it. I'll put some oil into the piston and see if we can't get that up a little higher. 50 for dry, maybe not. Maybe this thing flooded out and I ended up with a lot of gas into it and that washed things down. So let me try oiling the piston up, see if maybe that gets me enough compression to start. Kind of a last chance thing here. Here's the wet compression test. I don't know, what do we have there, 70? I'm not thinking she's starting. We'll give it one more try. I don't know where her compression went, but it's gone. That means this engine needs to come apart and probably get new rings. Once again, I'm not quite sure where the compression went, but it went. And typically I find if you're not somewhere around 90, they don't start. Okay, we're going to give it another shot. I put some oil into the intake also, so it might put out the flame of the spark plug. Or it might help seal up that intake valve a little bit. Your guess. So that's on. Carburetor should be good. Got a lot of compression from that. Sounds a lot better, right? I got everything hooked up. Yeah, it sounds a lot better. I might have. Once again, I might have put out the spark plug. All right, let me check the plug again. It might be oiled. Oh yeah, I don't know if you guys could see that, it's well oiled. And the bees are coming to visit. Well, let's give it another shot. I might have to change the plug. Yeah, some days machines just fight the heck out of you. I can't get over how much that compression seemed to come back. I didn't put it all the way in because just in case being a little further out means it shouldn't oil foul quite as much. good news is that it started. The bad news is it sounds like I'm chopping vegetables. We're actually chopping something with bones in it. I really do want to get a ride out of this thing. I'm not sure what to think of that grinding sound. I don't know. You guys kind of heard it, right? I'm going to restart it. I want you guys to listen and see what you think. Maybe I'm going to restart it. She don't sound so good. Okay, guys, when do we call this thing dead? I think it might just be dead. Well, you guys could see we got it started again by putting oil into the cylinder, and with the slide out I shot some oil down into the intake of the carburetor, which I think sealed up that intake valve a little bit. So that's a positive. Why that grinding sound, I really don't understand, and that could become the topic for another video. This engine is just kind of pretty pounded. It does seem to shift okay, and the auxiliary transmission seems okay. So I'm beginning to think maybe it has a problem with the starter clutch. That's what that noise is. You guys are familiar with starter clutches. What you have are these rollers, and going in one direction, because they're kind of cammed, things could turn freely, but when you go in the other direction, they kind of go up in an incline, and they cause binding and turning. If those roller bearings are shot, they could be shucking about and making those sounds. Especially, remember, they're turning backwards, which move them into the area that's bigger. Spread my fingers. So they're moved down there to where the area is bigger. And if they're well worn, they could be moving about, making those bad sounds. So that's kind of what I think is wrong with this motor. I don't know that because obviously I haven't taken it off and broken into it. If depending on how the rotation goes with other machines, it might just come back for that. So you might see this thing again. In the meantime, there has been some success with this machine. That tire holds air, that tire holds air, and this one has a little bit of a leak right there. So slime would seal that up. So if it gets to the point where all the tires are holding air, I do have some more of these motors floating around. So I could theoretically take everything I need off of this and move it on to one of those. As an example, there's this one here, though as I put my hand around to the back side of it, it appears as if the auxiliary transmission has been messed with. That's a common problem for these. They're kind of hard to get with live auxiliary transmissions, but maybe this could be a parts donor for the starter clutch and so forth. I hate tearing engines apart because they seem to come apart and never go back together again. If they have any potential to run whole, I try to keep them that way, but once again, the auxiliary transmission is out of this thing. It's probably due to something stripped out. Anyway, I really want to thank you guys for dropping by to watch and comment and subscribe. Please remember to keep your feet down, your heads up, and get out and enjoy each and every day. I hope you enjoyed this. haven't been getting out to work on these as much as I would like to. And I need to do more of that, obviously.